Listen, you're not gonna find anything on me, okay? Trust me.
Empty your pockets into the tray, sir, or we'll have to. Your pockets, sir?
Lady, the problem isn't in my pants.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. It was a bit of a light week as far as X-Men news and comics. We got a big X-Force issue, almost a return to standard for maybe like 6-7 months ago. Not quite there yet, but it's certainly better than what we've been getting lately. We also got the big teaser announcement that Declan Shalvey and Jonathan Hickman would be doing some type of digital comic. We got the answers to that very quickly. We've actually read the first couple issues of the Marvel Infinity X-Men Unlimited series. And here to talk with me about that is my good friend, Doc, the X-Men historian, the Marvel aficionado. How you doing, Doc?
I am okay. Yeah, I'm not too bad today. It's a nice day.
All right, so Doc's in a good mood. That means he's going to be very happy about all these comics. No negative reviews today, right?
I can't promise that.
All right, let's talk about this big teaser we got from Jonathan Hickman. You know, not a whole lot of information other than there was going to be a Jonathan Hickman, Declan Shalvey digital series. Hey, that's a good creative pairing. Not the greatest in the world, but I like Declan Shalvey. You know, Jonathan Hickman's work on X-Men's been good. What were your thoughts on what this was going to be? And then we'll talk about what it ended up being.
Now, Infinity Comics is a thing that, I mean, this is like a 10-year-old concept that they're bringing back again. I think the first time they did Infinity Comics was like a Nova when they first introduced Sam Alexander as Nova. And that was back in the Marvel Now era, and it never really took off. Marvel's been trying to do this motion comics thing for a long time. And, I know you covered a lot of this in your review, but it's never really caught. They tried it with DVDs that you could buy, and that didn't really work. Then they tried it as part of their app. And then they tried the AR, the augmented reality stuff, and that didn't really work. None of this really works. I mean, as you said, if I want a video, I'll watch a cartoon. And if I want a comic book, I'm going to read a comic book. I mean, your opinion on Declan Shalvey is significantly higher than mine. I think he is boring as hell. I think he's boring as hell. There's a reason why whenever they did that Return of Wolverine miniseries, he was the one that got issues 2, 3, and 4, while Steve McNiven got issue 1 and 5, because
there
the
was
only
noticeable downgrade.
I mean,
when McNiven left,
and he's also the guy that designed Wolverine's costume for that, which made him look like a P.F. Chang sous chef. But okay, no, look, Declan Shalvey is a boring fucking artist. Period. He is a guy that in the 90s you'd hire as a fill-in artist, and that's it. He'd never get a regular gig.
Perfectly fine for a new, digital-based comic that's vertically oriented.
No, if you're going to launch this new thing and try to make it a thing, you put actual marquee talent on it. They got half of it. They put Jonathan Hickman on, even though the story kind of sucked. But then you saddle him with Declan fucking Shalvey of all artists. I mean, maybe because his art's so damn boring that it's easy to move around and not make people confused.
Telling the story one panel at a time.
Yeah, one and change panels at a time.
So, obviously this is a much different format. Like I said, it's vertically channeled. I don't want to do the thing where it looks like I'm jerking off an elephant again, but it scrolls down. It's no confusion about how you read it. I think they were trying to take advantage of the format where you have lots of these really long falls, or these, trying to show the scope of the peak or whatever, using 5 or 6 of these panels in a row. It felt like a huge waste of space for the most part. So I think them trying to utilize the format to its fullest, it'll get better with time. Obviously, they just started with this new digital format. with this Infinity comic thing. So as far as X-Men Unlimited, it's not the most exciting story in the world. With basically, who is it? Is it Orcus?
No, it's AIM.
AIM, that's right. AIM has come in. They've penetrated the peak. They've kidnapped 3 mutants. They've taken them with them, and Wolverine has been sent on a mission to go and retrieve them. I don't know why they don't just send the Sword team, considering they have like 6 or 7 teleporters that could just beam themselves right over onto the ship. But they have Wolverine, and this is kind of one of the dumber things. If Wolverine was in space, even though he could regenerate, and he shot himself to another platform while he was in the cold of space, he would just freeze.
Yeah, he would still freeze, and then his skin would shatter. The logic here, I mean, remember House of X, Powers of X, he got teleported into space and fucking died. Like, in a matter of seconds. He was somehow, like, none of this makes any sense. He was able to somehow just look out at a hole in the ship, not a window, a hole, and not get sucked out. It's like they didn't understand any of the basic physics of being in space.
Well, I think they decided it was a comic book, so
yeah. I mean, I guess, but at the same time, just teleport onto the ship. You got like 9 teleporters. Just teleport there. You don't have to throw Wolverine out like a missile and then have him look through a window because and then see a bunch of AIM guys pointing their guns at him. Yeah, that's probably a brilliant idea. AIM, point your guns at him. You're worried about him cutting through and causing explosive decompression, so why not shoot through and cause explosive decompression?
Well, let's talk about something that might have been a bit more exciting for you, Doc. I thought the part where he jumped himself at the other ship was stupid, but we do get the big reveal that MODOK, at least like an AI version of MODOK, is kind of behind this to a degree.
Yeah, he was
certainly been the AIM leader before.
Yeah, and MODOK, Wolverine goes over to like the computer, and of course his way of starting a computer is just to smash it really hard with his hand. But the MODOK AI kicks on and starts explaining, like every comic book and supervillain plot ever, decides to just start explaining his big supervillain plan, including the fact that their original trip to the peak to abduct those mutants was a decoy, and they're going to send a different ship. And then, the AI MODOK actually wasn't bad. Like, it was very 1980s graphics kind of thing, but it didn't bother me. I actually kind of liked it. It was kind of endearing. And then it was going to be an explosion. He was going to self-destruct. MODOK was self-destructing the ship. Mm-hmm. So, hey, that was kind of cool.
What did you think about after the explosion? We get into the second issue, and I thought it was all right. Where we've got a completely crispified Wolverine, and then as the panels progressed, he's healing as it goes along. I thought it looked okay. Yeah,
it didn't look bad. It just was. The second issue suffered from a lot of modern comics things with stupid little jokes, like the fridge full of beer, and him offering a beer to some AIM guy, and then constant reusal of panels. Like, I'm pretty sure they just kept reusing that same 2 panels of Wolverine punching the AIM guy in the face, and then
responding.
Yeah, they just kept using the exact same panels, and then at the end, all they did was just each time made the broken glass stuff a little more shattered. Yeah. I'd have just held my gloves there, or like my hand there, and started slowly letting my claws come out. You didn't need to punch through the glass. You just start letting the claws slowly come out, approaching them a little closer and a little closer. I mean, that would have been cooler. This is instead like a Daredevil approach.
All right, Doc. So I'm going to take it that you're not going to be revisiting this to finish the story.
No, I really don't care. None of this is interesting. I don't care why MODOK wants a bunch of, wants to get onto the peak station. I don't care about any of these AIM characters. None of them are fucking Hydra Bob from way back in the Deadpool and Cable series where he had a little Hydra sidekick named Bob. No, this is just some bullshit with a bunch of characters in beekeeper costumes that I don't really care about, that are used as a joke most of the time. And this whole thing seems like it's just a really, really, really long gag. And I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to end up. It's just some dumb gag.
Well, let's get into a better comic, at least by my estimation. I think X-Force 23 was the best issue of X-Force we've had for quite a few months. Obviously, Ben Percy writing. We have a new artist this time. It's Martin Coccolo on the art. Certainly an upgrade from Gary Brown as a villain artist. Not the best art you're ever going to see, but certainly not the worst either. There were parts of this I actually quite enjoyed. There are other parts that I didn't enjoy. I'm done with Beast. How's that?
I'm very done with Beast, and I have been done with Beast for a while. And the whole thing with, like, it feels like Ben Percy here was kind of saying F you to the readers a little bit. Because it was, I'm not going to change him back to being more like the real Beast. I like him being dark,
like, very meta.
Yeah,
like,
it was.
People ask, "Where's the old Beast, the fun-loving, like, friendly Beast?" It was like, "Oh, you heard the criticism and you don't care."
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of like the part where I was like, "Okay, and F you too, buddy." Now, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure how much I care about these Russian nesting doll things. I'm much more interested in the what's Mikhail Rasputin doing with the guy with the Xeno organization and the guy with the peacock tattoo. By the way, it's not a peacock tattoo if it's on his shirt. It's not a tattoo when it's on your sleeve of your jacket. But I digress.
Let's talk about the Beast Day. Let's finish this one up before we get into the good part.
Yeah.
So we have Beast inexplicably, even though he knows every time you kill one of these things, a smaller one comes out. That was completely established. He would have witnessed it. He decides he's going to cut one of them open, and a little one jumps out. It jumps into his ear, and he can feel it going around in his head. He goes to Sage. He asks for Black Tom, and Black Tom essentially produces a wee Tom, which is like a little bitty version of himself to go in and I guess fight this Russian nesting doll that's in his head.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end, what's going to happen? He's just going to make if wee Tom kills the Russian, there's just going to be another one that pops out that's even smaller. Like the novelty of this is wearing off.
Beast is supposed to be, even if he's evil, he's still really smart.
Yeah, he should have been able to figure out what's going to happen and not decided, I'm just going to do it on a random table.
Yeah, he should have had it in an enclosure with some of those gloves in there with a little scalpel kit.
Yeah, like, you remember that movie Life or whatever, all the complaints about like Prometheus, where they're like, what kind of scientist would sit there and start poking things? Like just randomly poking alien organisms. Well, Beast knows, at least they were doing it through like spacesuits or like one of those like cabinets with like the rubber gloves built into it, so you could, pull out and you're not like direct skin on skin contact. Yeah. Had to make a Pornhub joke somewhere. But so like that was the criticism here. This is him just like, I might as well be doing a this isn't a high school biology class with a dead frog that you're doing an auto, or what did you do with those? You just cut them open. I don't remember what they called it. Where they cut them apart. Mm-hmm. What the hell's the term for that? Why am I
escaping me at this moment?
Yeah, it's not an autopsy. It's a I don't know. Whatever. Fuck it. I don't care. So it's not a high school bio class cutting open the dead frog
Dissection.
on that. Yeah, they're not dissecting a frog on a plate. No, you are a scientist dealing with something that is not just something as simple as a frog. You're dealing with Russian nesting doll things. You made the argument, well, I froze it. Like, that's going to do shit. But
he should have been so stupid.
Like, seriously.
Yeah.
It was really, really dumb, and it was very unscientific. Knock it off, Beast. You're smarter than
Let's
this.
talk about the better part of the story, and it's the Mikhail story where he's got the Xeno guy, and Xeno has brought in these soldiers that Rasputin apparently has ordered. It's not as many as he wanted, but they're upgrades. They can like shoot their arms off. They've got little bone-piercing spines that come out of their arms. Apparently, they can detach their eyes for surveillance, and there's some type of regenerative ability. This does not go over very well with Mikhail. He is not very happy. But we finally hear about these logic diamonds. Finally, Doc. They make the logic diamond theft important. Why did they do this after the fact? They should have mentioned beforehand that Mikhail Rasputin needs the logic diamonds to access the Cerebro sword.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this would have made me, yes, you would have established, you know why? It's because they didn't know what the fuck they were going to do with the logic diamonds until now. They're like, oh, wait, we can make them use them, because they didn't have any plan. There was no plan. They just started slapdashing shit together. Nobody cared about logic diamonds. They thought we would care just because the Shi'ar brought them. Everybody said, we don't give a shit because nobody knows what these things are. So now they actually gave us a reason to care about them. And I mean, hey, cool, but it took you like 10 issues way too damn long to make me actually give a damn about these things.
Yeah, it could have made 2 issues of Wolverine that much more impactful as he's tracking down the logic diamond theft and what's happened to him. And they just this wasn't a big reveal. They revealed the information, but it wasn't like this big moment. It's like, oh, they should have mentioned this already.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It would have added, breadth and clarity to what was actually happening.
Had they actually mentioned that the logic diamonds were necessary to make the Cerebro, unit, like the one that Xavier wears, actually function right, maybe I would have given a shit back when they got stolen during the, fucking Dinner Party X. I would have actually given a shit then instead of been like, oh, this thing that I didn't know what it was got stolen and I don't care. But
the only thing about this part of the story I don't like, Doc, is to I guess identify that Rasputin is Russian and he's proud of it. He's like, I like vodka and I like potatoes and I like borscht and I want, I like the onion domed, buildings or whatever. It's like, did you read an American encyclopedia on Russia? Like, could we get something more interesting about the character than all the the most mundane, boring stereotypes about Russian culture?
I was just gonna say, hey, Mikhail, way to be a fucking a cliche here, man. You are the I might be the stereotypical or ugly American. He is the stereotypical boring ass Russian. Jesus Christ, if you were Irish, would you still be talking about potatoes and shillelaghs and shit? Holy hell, man. You couldn't have got more cliche nonsense than what he was spouting. Now the one part of this with I didn't understand, Xeno seems to hate mutants so much, yet they basically just made mutants. They made him a mutant army. I'm really, really confused on why they bothered why they would agree to make him make Mikhail a mutant army, because that's ostensibly what they are. They're just gross mutants.
I kind of like this part of the story. I thought it was interesting that they were working together. You're right. It was like, as soon as he talks about, I'm a predator to mutants, Mikhail Rasputin obviously noticed that. And we get this big reveal at the end that was pretty kind of cool, where he said he put him in his own personal gulag. I like that part.
Yeah, like he used, Mikhail's always had like kind of reality bending powers, not necessarily warping. Like he's not like Scarlet Witch where he can remake shit. He just twists reality. And especially inside people's heads. Mikhail Rasputin screws with people. That's his big thing. And so he stuck the Xeno guy in basically inside of his own head and like trapped him mentally. So I mean, his body's essentially kind of like what happened to Fabian Cortez back in Way of X, but no, like that wasn't bad. Like except for I feel like they're taking Xeno off the board already when Xeno was the most interesting part of all of this.
Yeah, I wish that Xeno, like as the organization and that guy as the main villain, would have been the driving force of X-Force, at least for the first 20 issues, and they've only shown up here and there, unfortunately. But now, I would recommend this issue. I think it's perfectly fine. It's kind of leading into some interesting things. There is a cliffhanger, right?
There is. With this character, we're not sure what his actual name is. The only time we've seen his name in print so far, it's been in Russian. So if you try to use like a translator tool, there's like 3 or 4 different translations for it, but it might be the Chronicler or Scribe or something like that. And we've heard him mentioned like all the way back to like X-Force number 7. So that's been going on for a while, but he has got the most, he writes stuff, but my understanding after reading this and like trying to figure out how his power works, he has the most convoluted goddamn power set I have ever seen in my life, where he writes something as a speech or, a news broadcast or something, and then somebody else speaks it to an audience, and then the audience suddenly believes it. And like they get wholeheartedly behind the words that were spoken by the guy that didn't write the words. So the mutant power,
like the power of manipulation, or the gift of gab.
Yeah, he's like the world's. Essentially, his power is the world's most influential speechwriter. So the only time that this power is even remotely fucking useful is for like activists, politicians, and like newscasters. Those are like the only
general. You had a big army and you wanted to rally them to your cause or something, maybe.
Yeah, but you'd have to write the speech ahead of time. I mean, but that's the whole thing. Like the white page in here was at least moderately useful in that.
I don't read those anymore.
You know what? This one actually was, because it explained Mikhail actually influencing Russian policy. Because remember, when we started X-Force, the Russians had basically a zero tolerance policy.
Yeah, they were in concentration camps. They had to go free.
And now, at where you're at right now, Mikhail has essentially, without any change in leadership, same president, same, whatever government that they have over there, he has essentially been granted the freedom to create his own army and base it out of Russia. Yeah. He's government sanctioned now from a government that was sticking mutants in concentration camps 20 issues ago. So but it explains that he used a speech written by this dude, the Chronicler, the Scribe, whatever his name is. And now I don't know who this dude is, but he's been hinted at forever.
Yep. So that is this week in X-Men. Not a lot of stuff going on, but we did get to go a little bit more in depth on X-Force there. There's some things certainly to like. There's some things I personally don't like about it, but I recommend it. I think this was a better fill-in artist than what they've had before. The Infinity comics from Marvel, we shall see. Not the greatest opening in the world. I certainly like the art more than Doc does, but it did feel like a lot of I don't know. It didn't feel consequential.
No, none of this seems like it's going to actually matter, and I just really don't care. But X-Force was good.